So I'm Danny Jacobs, and I have the honor and pleasure of serving as Dean of the School of Medicine. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the 126th commencement exercises of the School of Medicine. Now, if you will please remain standing and join Syncope, our student a cappella group, who will lead us in singing the Star Spangled Banner. And please also remain standing for the invocation thereafter.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang there, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Syncope, and also thanks to the Chamber Brass Quartet for providing music for this ceremony. Chaplain John Riley will now give the invocation. Chaplain Riley?
The 38th chapter of the book of Sirach, one of the apocryphal books of the Bible, says this: "Give doctors the honor they deserve, for the Lord gave them their work to do." We gather to honor the milestone of the completion of medical school and to honor these who graduate and those who have taught them. Let us pray. We give thanks for these today who are our newest doctors, and we pray as they now begin a new phase of their learning that they become the physicians their degrees declare them to be. Let the words of the great physician Maimonides guide and direct them along the way. Dr. Maimonides says, "Preserve the strength of their bodies and of their souls, that they ever be ready to cheerfully help and support rich and poor, good and bad, enemy as well as friend. Illumine their minds that they may recognize what presents itself and that they may comprehend what is absent or hidden. Let them never be absent-minded. May no strange thoughts divert their attention at the bedside of the sick or disturb their minds in their silent labors, for great and sacred are the thoughtful deliberations required to preserve the lives and health of thy creatures. And never allow them the thought to arise in them that they have attained to sufficient knowledge, but vouchsafe to them the strength and leisure and ambition ever to extend their knowledge. May this and future generations be blessed with health and well-being by these whom we honor today. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Riley. Please be seated. So, class of 2016, I'm delighted to be here with you today. Later in the program, we will hear from Dr. Thomas Geisbert from our Department of Microbiology and Immunology. Graduates, I think it is entirely fitting and wonderful that you've chosen Dr. Geisbert as your keynote speaker. And this is because I think he's an example of what medicine so desperately needs at this time: innovators. Dr. Geisbert is one of the world's foremost authorities on infectious diseases. In 2014, he was one of the nation's preeminent Ebola fighters who were named collectively as Time Magazine's Person of the Year. I believe Dr. Geisbert will tell you that the life of an innovator is not all reward and recognition. Like leading scientists before him, he has faced many challenges in his career. He probably has endured lack of interest and support for some of his vital work, and I'm sure he will tell you that he failed many times before he succeeded. But Dr. Geisbert pursued his work relentlessly, and because of this, his efforts have helped to save lives. Healthcare is undergoing what are the most profound changes I think we can say we've seen in many lifetimes. In today's increasingly complicated and ever-changing healthcare environment, it will be the innovators that will lead the way. You've worked hard to get to this point. You've undoubtedly made sacrifices in order to pursue your passion. But you have the opportunity to use the training you have received to change how medicine is practiced and provided. There are many ways that you can meet this challenge. You can pursue discovery research like Dr. Geisbert, who works to save lives by finding the next breakthrough treatment or vaccine. Perhaps you will lead advances that expand access to quality care. Maybe you will conceive of better ways to educate the physicians of the future. Or, equally important, perhaps you will role model and champion truly patient-centered, team-based care in your communities. No matter what path you take, I encourage you to rise to meet today's challenges with the spirit of innovation. Let me leave you with one of my favorite quotes, Audate Magnae Esse, which means dare to be great. Congratulations to all of you on what you've achieved so far. I'm confident you will make us very proud here at UTMB. It's now a pleasure for me to recognize some individuals that are important, starting with our president, Dr. David L. Callender. We are honored that he will be presiding over our ceremony and awarding our degrees, conferring our degrees later on today. I'd also like to introduce other members of UTMB's senior leadership team who are here with us today. Ms. Carrie King, please stand. There you are. Who serves as our Senior Vice President and General Counsel. Dr. Ronald McKinley is here. He's Vice President of Human Resources and Employee Services. Last, I would also like to introduce other members of the School of Medicine's executive leadership team who are here today. Dr. Michael Ainsworth serves as Vice Dean for Academic Affairs and is Professor of Internal Medicine. Dr. Stephen Lieberman serves as Senior Dean for Administration, Professor of Internal Medicine, and is the John P. McGovern Distinguished Chair in Auxiliary Medicine. Dr. Rex McCollum is Vice President, Associate Dean for Clinical Affairs, and is our Chief Physician Executive. Dr. Niesel serves as Senior Vice President, Chief Research Officer, and is also Dean of our Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences. Please join me in recognizing these fine leaders. The mace that you noticed in the commencement procession bears the seal of the University of Texas and signifies the power and authority vested in the institution. This year, the mace is entrusted to the care of the Senior Faculty Marshal, Dr. Ben Raymer, who is Senior Vice President of Health Policy and Legislative Affairs, Professor in our departments of Preventive Medicine, Community Health, Pediatrics, and Family Medicine. Our chief faculty marshals this year are Dr. Christine Gugliuzza, who is professor in our departments of surgery and pediatrics and holds the Alonzo Alvary Ross, MD, Centennial Chair in General Surgery. Dr. Gail Olson, who's professor in the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology. Joining them are our other faculty marshals, who are Dr. Lisa Farmer, who's associate professor in our Department of Anesthesiology, Dr. Nisha Garg, who is professor in our departments of microbiology and immunology and pathology, and holds the Robert E. Shope MD Chair in Global Health. We also have Dr. Randall Given, who's associate professor in our Department of Neuroscience and Cell Biology, Dr. Juliette McKee, who's associate professor in our Department of Family Medicine and is assistant dean for student affairs. I'd also like to recognize these faculty marshals, Dr. Anita Mercado, who is associate professor in our departments of internal medicine and orthopedic surgery, Dr. Victor Riaz, who is professor in our departments of pediatrics, microbiology, and immunology, and holds the Mary and J. Palmer Saunders Professorship for Excellence in Teaching. Dr. Giulio Tagliatella is professor in our departments of neurology and neuroscience and cell biology. He's the John Seeley Chair for Parkinson's Disease Research and the Lawrence Del Papa Distinguished Chair in Neurodegenerative Disease Research, celebrating UTMB's 125th anniversary. And last but not least, Dr. Cindy Wigg, who is professor in our Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences. Please help me applaud those fine individuals. Thank you. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to call on Dr. Conder to make some welcoming remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Jacobs. It's my great pleasure to welcome everyone to today's commencement ceremony for the graduates of our School of Medicine. It's an inspiring day for all who are gathered here to celebrate the transformation from medical student to physician. Graduates, today you will become alumni of the UTMB School of Medicine, joining generations of colleagues who have dedicated their lives to improving health throughout the world since our founding 125 years ago. This ceremony marks the culmination of an important step in the journey toward answering your calling to serve others. It has taken you many years of hard work, sacrifice, and dedication to reach this point. We are all very proud of your commitment, your effort, and your determination, and we can't wait to see where you go next. You leave us with a medical education that is second to none, thanks to our marvelous faculty members who have worked so diligently to prepare you so well. Their commitment to your education ensures that you'll not only be able to provide the best care to patients, but that you'll have a desire for lifelong learning that can help you become a leader in your chosen field. This is by design, for you will find, as every UTMB graduate before you has found, that there is always so much more to learn. As you prepare to move on to the next stage of your career, take advantage of the opportunities to absorb knowledge from your mentors, your colleagues, and your patients. And be generous with the knowledge you have gained through training and practice. We learn best when we learn together. Some of you will help foster new discoveries and approaches to care in an ever-changing healthcare landscape. These breakthroughs often occur through collaboration, certainly through persistence, through the curiosity of a mind that is always asking, what if? UTMB owes its very existence to a group of visionaries who asked in 1881, what if Texas had a medical school of the first class? As far as UTMB has come as an institution, we can only imagine how far healthcare will go with the talented group assembled here this morning asking, what if? But perhaps most importantly, I encourage you to learn to listen to colleagues, to patients, to their families, to the new graduates who will one day follow in your footsteps. For the ability to listen well is the foundation for excellence in the health sciences. No matter the path you choose as a physician, we at UTMB look forward to hearing of your future successes as leaders in healthcare. I know that you will continue the legacy of distinguished UTMB alumni who have been recognized for their service and leadership, much like the Ashbel Smith Distinguished Alumni Award recipients who will be recognized today. As you enter the next stage of your medical career, remember to always act with integrity and to always strive for excellence. Think big. Your creative and innovative ideas can and will make a positive difference for the health of others. Be lifelong learners, always advancing your knowledge and the impact it has on others. Be bold in thought and in action. Be passionate about what you believe and compassionate in honoring those who you are serving every day. Be ready to take steps forward and to accept with grace the setbacks that will inevitably occur. When I look at all of you who are graduating today, I see the future of healthcare. And I say with complete confidence, the future of healthcare is very bright. Congratulations and best wishes for great success in the future.
Thank you, Dr. Callender. Now I think it's important that we recognize the parents, the spouses, the friends, the loved ones, and others who've helped make this day possible for our graduates. So class of 2016, please join me in a round of applause for those folks. Thank you. And now for your extended family at UTMB, your chairs and other faculty members, we are all indebted to them. Their support is crucial and has been crucial for your success, and I encourage you to reach out to them as you progress in your careers. Faculty members are at the core of what makes UTMB a unique learning community. We're fortunate to be home to some of the world's top scholars, scientists, and clinicians who work tirelessly to ensure that our students succeed. Our faculty members have faithfully served our students, instilling in them the social, moral, and ethical obligations and foundations of our profession. So please join me in also recognizing their efforts. So class of 2016, you will be officially entering an important family, the UTMB alumni family. It's our hope that you will stay connected to your alma mater. Our alumni are a distinguished group who are passionate in their efforts to facilitate a rewarding educational experience for you. On behalf of UTMB alumni, Dr. James Wynn, who is president of our School of Medicine Alumni Association, will come forward and deliver a brief message. Dr. Wynn.
Thank you, Dr. Jacobs, and good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Jim Wynn, class of 1967. I serve as president of the School of Medicine Alumni Association and chairman of the Board of Trustees. I'm here today to congratulate each and every one of you and to let you know how proud we are of you and to welcome you into the Alumni Association. You are joining a proud tradition of graduates that began in 1891. Since that time, we have granted more than 14,322 medical degrees and have trained more physicians than any other Texas medical school. I urge you to never lose sight of what is best for your patients and to remain a member of the community of medicine. As students, your Alumni Association has been the people who have provided you with your white coats, the Honor Council pins, sponsored the match day reception, provided student scholarships, mentoring opportunities, and funded numerous student-driven initiatives. Now, I want to paraphrase a line from a rather famous speech, that being that you will little note nor long remember what we say here today. I doubt that many of you 10 years from now will remember my name, and maybe some of you will remember some of what was said. But I do want to say one thing that I want you to truly remember, that you did not arrive at this point in your life by yourself. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how high your GPA was. I don't care what your MCAT score was or how pretty you are. You would not be sitting here this morning except for the help of others. Obviously, you have been supported by your family. Perhaps you were encouraged by a devoted teacher or a spouse. If you were lucky, you had a doctor who served as your mentor. All have helped you arrive here today. But what you may not realize, there has been an army of individuals who have made your success possible. I'm talking about all the doctors who came before you and who have been making contributions to UTMB to ensure that you were successful here. The vast number of lay people who generously gave to ensure your medical education was one of the best in the world. People who may never know who you are, and you may never know who they are, but they wanted you to have this marvelous opportunity to become a physician. Now, it will be your responsibility to pay this forward and to ensure that those who come behind you will have the same opportunities, and that responsibility starts now for you. Today, I am going to provide you with your first year's membership to the UTMB School of Medicine Alumni Association. As you know, this group of dedicated alumni have constantly worked to help students at UTMB. Now you will have a wonderful opportunity for less than the price of a pizza per month to continue your membership and start repaying this debt by helping all the future doctors. Again, my congratulations to you, and may God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wynn. We will now recognize students who have achieved special honors. Dr. Michael Ainsworth, who is Vice Dean for Academic Affairs, will present the William N. and Ida Zen Alpha Omega Alpha Award. Dr. Ainsworth.
The William N. and Ida Zen Alpha Omega Alpha Award Scholarship Fund was established by Mr. William N. Zen of Galveston in 1955. The purpose of the endowment is to award a grant to the graduating student in the School of Medicine showing the highest scholarly and intellectual attainment. It is with great pleasure that I present the 2016 Alpha Omega Alpha Award to the graduating student with the highest cumulative grade point average at the end of 4 years of study. Would Travis Paul Green please come forward to receive this award? And now I would like to introduce Senior Class President, Mr. Pablo Padilla, who will present the James W. Powers Memorial Award and the Gold-Headed Cane Award. Mr. Padilla.
The James W. Powers Memorial Award honors a teacher of clinical subjects who, by his example and instruction, has made an outstanding contribution to the central task of the University of Texas Medical Branch at Galveston. The creation of physicians capable of practicing both the art and the science of medicine, the graduating class in the School of Medicine selects the recipient. This year, we have chosen to honor a faculty member who is very special to the school, Dr. Keith Bly. Dr. Bly passed away in September 2015. He served in the Department of Pediatrics for more than 20 years, most recently as Associate Professor. Dr. Bly also served as Director of the Division of Pediatric Urgent Care and the Pediatric Residency Program Director. Dr. Bly was a dedicated teacher and mentor who cared deeply about UTMB's residents and students. Twice he was awarded the Golden Rattle by the pediatric residents for his clinical teaching. He also received the Clinical Bedside Teaching Award from the McGovern Academy of Valerian Medicine. Dr. Bly is greatly missed. We are honored, though, to have Dr. Bly's wife, Amy, their children, Cameron, Charlotte, and Justin, here with us today to accept the award on their behalf, on Dr. Bly's behalf. Mrs. Bly, will you please come forward? The Gold-Headed Cane Award was established on the campus of the University of Texas Medical Branch in 1960 by the late Drs. Charles C. Stone, a 1950 UTMB alumnus and longtime chairman of the university's Department of Internal Medicine. As president of the fourth-year class, it is an honor to participate in this ceremony. You will find the story of the Gold-Headed Cane Award printed in the program. This award is given to bring the art of medicine more prominently to the attention of the students, and is given to the student who, in the opinion of his or her peers, best exemplifies the qualities of the practice of the art of medicine. Will the 5 finalists please come forward as their names are called? Tracy Lynn Cable. Victoria Ann Shepard. Jessica Lauren Tedford. Abigail Charlotte Watts. Nicholas Ernest Wilhelm. It is my pleasure to present the 2016 Gold-Headed Cane finalists. And now for the award. The award goes to Victoria Ann Shepard. Congratulations, Tori. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Padilla, and congratulations to all the finalists and to the winner. It's now an honor to recognize the 2016 Ashbel Smith Distinguished Alumnus Award winners. The Ashbel Smith Distinguished Award is the highest honor bestowed by the School of Medicine. Our honorees received a replica of Old Red at a special ceremony we had last night. Today, they will receive medallions bearing the likeness of Dr. Smith, and biographies of the award winners are in your program. The first honoree to receive this award is Dr. Gerald Bethard. Dr. Bethard's pioneering work in nephrology and dialysis vascular access improved care for patients with renal disease around the world. He earned his medical degree in 1964 from UTMB, where he also completed his internship and then a residency in internal medicine. He went on to receive a doctorate in experimental pathology from our Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences, and then served as chief resident in our Department of Internal Medicine. He was associate professor at UTMB and started our renal pathology program. He also served as director of the electron microscopy, the immunofluorescence, and the renal pathology laboratories from 1969 to 1977. He's considered to be the father of interventional nephrology. Since 2000, he served as co-medical director of Lifeline Vascular Access, which manages 75 dialysis access centers in 22 states. In this role, he's responsible for physician training and development, and he also has maintained a medical license in 26 states. Among his many honors, he received the Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Society of Diagnostic and Interventional Nephrology in 2007. In 2008, the Society established the Gerald Bethard Excellence in Academic Achievement Award and the Gerald Bethard Lectureship. So it's my distinct pleasure to present the Ashbel Smith Distinguished Alumnus Award to Dr. Bethard. Dr. Bethard? I think we have a photo op here. Our second honoree is Dr. Paul Brindley, who is receiving this honor posthumously. He completed his medical degree at UTMB in 1925 and then joined us as an instructor in pathology. He was appointed professor and chair of the Department of Pathology shortly thereafter in 1929 and served in this role for 25 years. He also served as a consultant in pathology for the St. Mary's Hospital, the U.S. Public Health Hospital, and the Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio. He was instrumental in establishing the Galveston chapter of the American Cancer Society and was named the Society's first president in 1948. He became a fellow of the American College of Physicians in 1934 and a fellow of the American College of Pathologists in 1947. He was twice president of the Texas Society of Pathology and posthumously awarded their first Caldwell Memorial Award in 1955. Dr. Brindley's two brothers, as well as 8 of his nephews and great-nephews, have all graduated from UTMB. After Dr. Brindley passed in 1954, the sophomore class erected a bronze plaque in his honor, which was installed in a lecture hall in the Keeler Building at UTMB. Dr. Paul C. Brindley, assistant professor in our Department of Otolaryngology, and Dr. Brindley's great-nephew will accept this award on his behalf. Dr. Brindley? Now we would like to honor Dr. Delbert Chumley. Dr. Chumley completed his medical degree at UTMB in 1971 and went on to complete an internship and residency in internal medicine in 1974 and a fellowship in gastroenterology in 1976. He also served as chief resident in our Department of Internal Medicine. He founded the Gastroenterology Consultants of San Antonio, which has grown into a thriving group of 19 physicians who specialize in clinical and endoscopic gastrointestinal services. Dr. Chumley maintains his private practice. He also has a clinical faculty appointment as a professor of medicine at the University of Texas Health Sciences Center in San Antonio. He's a fellow of the American College of Physicians and the American College of Gastroenterology. He has served as president of the Texas Society of Gastroenterology and Endoscopy, the Bexar County Medical Society, and the American College of Gastroenterology, where he continues to serve as an administrative liaison for the Board of Trustees. Dr. Chumley's various accolades include the San Antonio Business Journal Healthcare Heroes Lifetime Achievement Award, the American College of Physicians Texas Chapter's Laureate Award, and the American College of Gastroenterology's William D. Carey Award. It's my distinct pleasure to present the Ashbel Distinguished Alumnus Award to Dr. Chumley. Dr. Chumley. The final honoree is Dr. Albert Sanders. Dr. Sanders attended UTMB and earned a Master of Science in Anatomy and his Doctor of Medicine degree in 1959. He went on to a rotating internship with Denver General Hospital and St. Joseph's Hospital in Colorado, and then completed his residency in orthopedic surgery at the Baylor University College of Medicine. He is the recipient of several humanitarian awards, such as the Walter P. Blount Humanitarian Award from the Scoliosis Research Society for his work with orthopedic surgeons in developing countries. His other honors include the Outstanding Alumni Award from Southwestern University and the Spirit Award from the Santa Rosa Medical Center. Dr. Sanders was one of the founding faculty members of the UT Health Science Center in San Antonio in 1968, and he served there in full-time, part-time, and volunteer positions until he retired in 2011. Dr. Sanders is a lifetime member of the Alumni Associations for our School of Medicine as well as for our Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences. It's my pleasure to present this award to him. Dr. Sanders? So it's now my distinct pleasure to introduce today's commencement speaker, our own Dr. Thomas Geisbert. Dr. Geisbert is professor in our Department of Microbiology and Immunology and a scientist in our Galveston National Laboratory. He is one of the world's leading Ebola experts and has nearly 3 decades of experience working with the deadliest infectious agents. He received his PhD in molecular pathobiology from the Uniformed Services University of Health Sciences in Bethesda. From 1985 till 2007, Dr. Geisbert served in various roles for the U.S. Army Medical Research Institute of Infectious Diseases at Fort Detrick, including serving as chief of their Department of Viral Pathology and Ultrastructure. He joined UTMB in 2010 from Boston University, where he had served as associate director of the National Emerging Infectious Diseases Laboratories Institute and professor in their departments of microbiology and medicine. He co-discovered the Reston species of Ebola virus in 1989, which garnered national attention and was featured in Richard Preston's best-selling novel, The Hot Zone. His numerous awards include 2 Department of the Army Commander's Awards for civilian service, one for his work to identify the Ebola Reston virus, and the second for his support of the operation known as Noble Eagle. This is a name that was given to military operations related to Homeland Security and support to federal, state, and local agencies in the wake of September 11th. He recently received an honorary doctorate in humane sciences from Hood College for his outstanding research contributions. Class of 2016, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Geisbert.
Thank you, Dr. Callender, Dean Jacobs, Dr. Raymer, UTMB faculty, and the graduating medical students of UTMB. I've been very fortunate to receive a number of awards in my career, but I think the greatest honor that you can ever receive in my profession is to be invited to speak by the students. So I especially want to thank the medical students. It's hard to believe it's been 6 years since I've been here in Galveston. I know that for many of you, this is a time of transition as you leave the world of formal education and you advance your medical career. I'm going to walk you through my story, my career path, and tell you a little bit about what I've learned that hopefully made me a better and more productive person. I'm going to emphasize 3 areas this morning. 1, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and make the most of every opportunity that you get. 2, perseverance. Never give up. Never ever give up. And 3, one person can make a difference and change the world for the better. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background. I was born and raised in an area where Maryland, Virginia, and West Virginia all come together, very unlike Texas, where you can drive all day and be in the same state. I was in 3 states every day. No offense to any of the Astros or Rangers fans here, but I was and still am a huge fan of the Baltimore Orioles. When I was growing up and I was a little kid, I wanted to be a professional baseball player, something I was pretty good at early in life, until I got a little older and I went to college in a D3 school and realized that I stunk. And biology and chemistry were always my best subjects when I was in school. It came the easiest to me, didn't have to study as much for those. So after I graduated from Western Maryland College with a bachelor's degree in biology, I really didn't know what I wanted to do for a career. I knew that running projectors at a local movie theater was not my calling in life. After a few months of not really knowing what I wanted to do and procrastination, my dad confronted me one day and put his arm around me and said, son, it's time to get a job. You're not going to be failure to launch. My dad was actually a building engineer at the U.S. Army Medical Research Institute of Infectious Diseases in Fort Detrick, Maryland, and that's really how I ended up getting a position there in the electron microscopy laboratory in the pathology division. If you're not familiar with electron microscopy, an electron microscope uses a beam of electrons to create an image of a specimen. So where a conventional light microscope can magnify a specimen maybe 10 to 40 times, an electron microscope can magnify a specimen 100,000 times or more. So you can see a virus particle with an electron microscope. At USAMRIID, at the time it was used as a tool for assisting in the identification of viruses, diagnosing infections, and in studying disease pathogenesis. So this opportunity led me to pursue a master's degree, which opened even more doors for me. Upon completion of my master's, I accepted a position to work with Drs. C.J. Peters and Peter Jarling in the disease assessment division at USAMRIID. These were the guys that worked in biosafety level 4 on the most dangerous viruses known to man. I had never planned on working in this particular area, and I admit it was a little scary at first. But this leads me into the first theme of my talk, which is don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and make the most of every opportunity that comes your way. As many of you know, Ebola virus causes severe hemorrhagic fever in humans and also in non-human primates and kills up to 90% of the people that it infects. To work with Ebola, you have to work in a positive pressure suit, or what we call a space suit. So if any of you remember the movie E.T., the blue suit, the blue plastic suit that they wore, believe it or not, we have that pretty much same suit in the Galveston National Lab, and that's pretty much still what we wear today. It takes about 3 to 4 times as long to do anything when you work in a spacesuit. So back in 1989, when I was at USAMRIID, we were working on a virus called simian hemorrhagic fever virus that I'll call SHF. And we were using this as a surrogate or a model for Ebola and other BSL-4 viruses. Now, SHF causes a lethal infection in monkeys that's very similar to what Ebola causes in humans. But unlike Ebola, it does not cause disease in man. So the advantage is that we could work with SHF at a lower level of biocontainment to make research go faster, and then hopefully to be able to apply these principles that we learned to Ebola. Now, Peter Jarling, who was my mentor at the time, was giving a talk in the southeastern United States on some of the work that we had done with SHF virus. There happened to be a veterinarian in the audience that day who worked at a primate holding facility in Reston, Virginia, which was not far from USAMRIID and was a stone's throw from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. A few months after hearing Peter talk, the veterinarian noticed that the monkeys in his facility that had recently been imported from the Philippines were dying from a disease that fairly closely resembled SHF. So he called Peter and asked if we could confirm that the agent causing the death in his monkey colony was in fact SHF. So I'll never forget the day when the samples showed up in a styrofoam box from Reston. Again, this is 30 miles from USAMRIID. We actually unpacked that box in Peter's office that contained tissues wrapped in aluminum foil. And the tissues were dripping. There was blood dripping from the tissues into the bottom of the styrofoam box. So we went into one of our one of our labs that was actually not a BL4 lab, and we attempted to culture the virus from the samples to confirm that it was indeed SHF. So we did this work in a lower level of containment where we did not have spacesuits on. A few days later, we started to see evidence that the cultured cells that we had employed to isolate the virus were dying, indicating that an infectious agent was present. So Peter came into the lab to look at the cultures and thought that the cultures may be contaminated with bacteria. So he performed what we called an old school sniff test, where he removed the cap from the flask and sniffed the flask to see if it smelled like grape juice, and which would be a telltale sign of bacterial contamination. He then handed me the flask and asked me to do the same. Probably not the smartest thing that I've ever done in my life. Long story short, I applied my newly learned skills in electron microscopy to analyze the cells and see if I could detect a small spherical virus that would be consistent with the morphology of SHF virus. Instead, I did not see SHF virus. I saw these long, filamentous, spaghetti-like particles that turned out to be a new species of Ebola virus. So fortunately, I survived sniffing Ebola. A few years later, Richard Preston turned this story into a best-selling novel, as Dean Jacobs noted, called The Hot Zone, which was #1 on the New York Times best-selling list for several months in the mid-1990s. And Richard became a millionaire many times over, and because I was a US government employee, all I got was an autographed copy of The Hot Zone and a Christmas card every year. I think that Peter and I would both say to you that sniffing that flask of Ebola was the second dumbest thing that we ever did. Telling Richard was the dumbest. But this discovery at that time in my life, when I was young in my career, like you guys are here today, this was really the break that I needed as a young scientist, and it gave me a goal. It increased my enthusiasm and my passion for scientists, and it really pushed me to finish my PhD. So I was obsessed at that time with finding a cure for Ebola. I wanted to do something that no one else had ever done. To this day, I still have that same enthusiasm that I had many years ago. And I've learned through the process of selecting PhD students for my own laboratory that it's not always the student with the highest GRE score or the highest GPA that ends up being the most successful. It's the student with the most enthusiasm. So I can teach a student virology, but I can't teach enthusiasm. So no matter what career path you go down in your medical profession, it's important to choose a path that you're passionate about, something that you really love. The second theme that I want to talk about today is perseverance. So I spent a lot of time during the decade of the 1990s trying to develop vaccines and treatments against Ebola, and it was very frustrating. We managed to develop a number of medical countermeasures that were able to completely protect mice or guinea pigs against Ebola. So we'd get really excited. We'd develop a new vaccine or a new treatment, and we'd go in and we'd test it in rodents, and they'd all be protected, and you'd be on cloud 9. And then we'd try that same treatment in monkeys, and monkeys are, of course, the gold standard model. The disease in monkeys is very similar, and it's pretty much exactly the same as man. And it would be very frustrating because the monkeys would all die. And so it was a decade of failed study after failed study after failed study. And that was really, really trying on me. And then there were the naysayers. There were people that would ask, why are you working on a disease that globally really doesn't affect that many people? And certainly doesn't impact the lives of Americans because, as you know, Ebola is a disease that mostly affects Africa. So now we know that the former Soviet Union had been developing Ebola as a bioweapon during the Cold War, which is why we were working with it at USAMRIID. But after 9/11, the US government became even more concerned about Ebola as an agent that could be exploited by terrorists. So more funds were put into research. Now, one of the things that you learn from failure is what doesn't work, and by the process of elimination, what not to do. So my failures in the 1990s led to many successes in the decade of the 2000s. With some very close colleagues, we were able to develop both preventive vaccines and a post-exposure treatment that completely protected monkeys against Ebola. So again, I was very excited about these breakthroughs until reality sank in. So before the year 2014, there was a very small global market for an Ebola vaccine or treatment because outbreaks occurred sporadically and affected small numbers of people in remote areas of Africa. So there was no financial incentive for a big pharmaceutical company to produce an Ebola vaccine or drug. So this was not like you had a drug that could cure cancer or prevent heart disease, or even maybe a vaccine against something that's more prevalent like influenza. So we had developed all these vaccines, and particularly one that I'll talk about here in a minute. We were really excited about them, but there was no market for them. Nobody wanted to move them forward. So as many of you know, there was a recent large outbreak from 2014 and just recently ended with over 30,000 cases, or nearly 30,000 cases of Ebola that started in West Africa, in the country of Guinea, and it spread like wildfire early in 2014. And of course, by the summer of 2014, the outbreak was out of control, but it really wasn't until the Americans were involved that much attention was given to it here in the US. And I remember watching TV late in July in 2014, and I don't care which major network you were watching, I don't care whether it was CNN or Fox News, or I'm a sports nut, so I was watching ESPN, and they actually broke in with coverage of the American worker Kent Brantley, who was a healthcare worker who was infected with Ebola, and he was evacuated from West Africa and repatriated to the United States. And we watched this event unfold on TV, from the landing of the private jet in Atlanta to the ambulance driving through the streets of Atlanta to Emory University Hospital. And then a few days later, we had watched it play out again with his colleague, Nancy Wrightball, going to Atlanta, and then Rick Saker going to Nebraska. And for a while, you know, I'm watching TV, and they keep breaking in with this news coverage, and I thought we were watching O.J. Simpson and the white Bronco go down the LA freeway. So it got the Americans, you know, it got our attention here as Americans. And, you know, a few weeks later, it really hit close to home for us here in Texas when a man arrived from West Africa on a plane in Dallas, Texas, and infected two of his nurses, attending nurses in the Dallas hospital. And it's unfortunate, but it was this involvement of Americans that brought attention to the Ebola problem. It made us realize that what happens in a remote place can indeed impact our lives here. So it's good that the recent outbreak has finally been declared over. I think if there is a silver lining in this outbreak, it's the fact that the media attention got the public engaged. When the public got engaged, politicians took notice, and all of a sudden, a lot of red tape was cut. And there was a push to fast track some of the leading medical countermeasures. And one of the vaccines in particular that I was involved in developing. The final theme that I want to address is this: one person can make a difference, and one person does matter. And when Time Magazine interviewed me in 2014, we were talking about both one of the drugs that we developed called TKM Ebola, and then one of the vaccines that we developed that you may know is the Newlink Merck VSV vaccine. The reporter Alice Park asked me, "So Tom, why do you do this? Why do you work with something that can easily kill you, and what motivates you?" And my response was that I'm in the medical field. I want to help people. I've traveled the world, and especially seeing firsthand the poverty in third world countries, I really realized how fortunate I was to be born an American. Last year, the World Health Organization conducted a ring vaccination cluster randomized trial in Guinea using our VSV Ebola vaccine. There were over 4,100 people in a group of contacts of Ebola patients that were randomly assigned to receive immediate vaccination with our Ebola vaccine, and over 3,500 that were randomly assigned to delayed vaccination with the same vaccine. In the immediate vaccination group, there were no cases of Ebola with symptom onset at least 10 days after randomization, whereas in the delayed group, there were 16 cases of Ebola. Now, I'm not a statistician, but the paper that described this trial just came out in The Lancet, and the interim results do show that the vaccine was highly protective, or suggested it was. The vaccine is continuing to be used in West Africa, and the data are continuing to be assessed. Now, I'm not going to stand here today and tell you that I know for an absolute 100% certain fact that that vaccine saved all of these people. But my response to the Time reporter was that if our vaccine saved the life of just one person, then it was all worth it. This leads me to one final thought. I was at the University of Texas in Austin last year with Dr. Callender to participate in the annual Chancellor's Council meeting. The Chancellor of UT System is a man named William Bill McCraven. Some of you may know him. He's a Navy SEAL and a retired U.S. Navy Admiral who last served as the 9th Commander of the U.S. Special Operations Command. He's the most dynamic speaker I've ever seen, certainly among the best. And the gentleman who introduced him that day made reference to a commencement speech that Chancellor McCraven gave at the University of Texas in 2014. So this is the beauty of a Google search in YouTube. Knowing that I would be speaking to you today and looking for ideas, I looked at that speech, and I'm going to borrow a few things from it, giving all due credit to Chancellor McCraven. So he begins that speech by saying, "Tonight there are almost 8,000 students graduating from UT. That great paragon of analytical rigor, Ask.com, says that the average American will meet 10,000 people in their lifetime. That's a lot of folks. But if every one of you changed the lives of just 10 people, and each one of those folks changed the lives of another 10 people, just 10, then in 5 generations, 125 years, the class of 2014 will have changed the lives of 800 million people." 800 million people, think about that. Over twice the population of the United States. Go one more generation and you can change the entire population of the world, 8 billion people. If you think it's hard to change the lives of 10 people, change their lives forever, you're wrong. I saw it happen every day in Iraq and Afghanistan. A young Army officer makes a decision to go left instead of right down a road in Baghdad, and the 10 soldiers in his squad are saved from his close-in ambush. In Kandahar province, Afghanistan, a non-commissioned officer from the female engagement team senses something isn't right and directs the infantry platoon away from a 500-pound IED, saving the lives of a dozen soldiers. But if you think about it, not only were the soldiers saved by the decisions of one person, but their children yet unborn were also saved, and their children's children were saved. Generations were saved by one decision, by one person. And this small part of a speech by Chancellor McCraven really clicks for me and puts what I do into perspective. If my work can save one person from Ebola, then it matters. Changing the world can happen anywhere and anyone can do it. So what starts here at UTMB can indeed change the world. But the question is, what will the world look like after you change it? In closing, I would like to congratulate each of you. You're moments away from beginning the next chapter of your life. While I told you about my story, I did not tell you about all the people that helped me along the way. Seek out good people to help you through life. One of my mentors told me many years ago, and I'll never forget this, don't be afraid to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. They will make you better. I will also never forget something that my father taught me as a very young child when I didn't get my way, and that was quite often. He said, "Tom, life is not fair. There will be failures and there will be setbacks. You need to take risks. Most things in life that are worth having don't come without risk. Step up to the plate when the times are tough. Lift up those less fortunate than you, and never, ever give up. What you have started here will indeed make the world a better place." Thank you very much for the honor of speaking today, and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Dr. Geisberg. In recognition of your outstanding accomplishments and your great speech today, we want to present you with this medallion.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Next, Dr. Raybeck will come forward and introduce this year's student class speaker. Dr. Raybeck, where is he? Oh, there he is, sorry.
It's my pleasure to introduce our 2016 School of Medicine Commencement class speaker, Mr. Scott Walton. Mr. Walton received his Bachelor of Science in Exercise Science from Brigham Young University, where he graduated summa cum laude. Mr. Walton was selected by his medical school class to deliver the class address. His honors include the Mavis P. Kelsey, MD, Excellence in Medicine Award, the Dr. Bernie Rothschild Award for Compassion in Medicine, and the Jimmy Doyle Dickens Memorial Award for excellence in gross anatomy and radiology. He also received a Physical Training Mentor Award from the United States Army. He is a member of the Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Society and the Gold Humanism Honor Society. Mr. Walton was a student advisor for the UTMB's Physician Healer track, as well as president and founder of the Physician Healer Student Association. Mr. Walton has worked with the team to develop and test the automated critical care system for the U.S. Navy at the UTMB Research Resuscitation Laboratory. He also studied long-term otis media under Harold Pine in the Department of Otolaryngology. Throughout his time at UTMB, Mr. Walton has volunteered for several organizations, including the St. Vincent's Clinic and Big Sib, Little Sib. He is also Executive Secretary of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints here in Galveston. Please join me in welcoming this exemplary student, Mr. Scott Walton.
Thank you, Dr. Raybeck. Good morning. Wow, what an amazing opportunity to stand before you all today. Very humbling as well. The crowd is large. It extends back if you turn around, and there's a picture of me right in front of me that's kind of weird to look at, but it's going to be okay. I must admit that I don't come totally unprepared. They teach us a little bit about public speaking in medical school. Unfortunately, all that they taught us was how to treat patients who were afraid of it. And needless to say, they didn't offer me any of those drugs, so bear with me for the next few minutes while we get through this speech. Thank you, everyone, for being here, my family, friends, and the family and friends and supporters of so many of us today. We couldn't have gotten here without each of you. Thank you, Dr. Raybeck, for the introduction, and thank you to so many UTMB alumni, faculty that have made it possible for us to be here. We certainly couldn't have done it without you, and it's a great honor to recognize and honor you as well during this day. As match day approached, that long-awaited day in March, when all of our hard work, dedication, long hours culminated into a single envelope that we walked down and received, securing our future, letting us know where we were going to go on to do residency training, there was a class survey that went out to nominate the class speaker, like Dr. Raybeck mentioned. When I saw my name on the list of possible nominees, all I could think was, who can I vote for to assure that their name is atop the list instead of mine? But after the votes came in and I started receiving text messages from fellow classmates saying things like, I voted for you, start writing that speech, I could only hope that that was a minority, but sure enough, here I am. And I knew that if I was nominated, there was one patient's story, one person's story that I wanted to share. And despite my fear and nervousness, that patient's story would be worth sharing. So we'll get to Isaac's story shortly. But in the meantime, preparing for this graduation, thinking back to my graduation ceremony at BYU 4 years ago, I found it difficult to fully enjoy that moment. I knew that medical school loomed large in my future. I felt like I was celebrating a touchdown at the 50-yard line, and everything just felt a little bit premature. However, today, those feelings of prematurity are certainly gone as we, as a class, stand in our figurative end zone to celebrate the winning touchdown. And the best part about it is that we're all on the winning team, and we can celebrate that touchdown together. We certainly didn't leave the game unscathed. We have our bumps and our bruises and our scars to show that it wasn't an easy fight. So first and foremost, I wanted to congratulate the class of 2016 for an awesome accomplishment, and I hope that we can all feel proud. As many of my classmates will remember, this journey through medical school started 4 years ago with the gross anatomy lab and that unforgettable smell that permeated our clothes and hair for days to come. Sometimes I still have nightmares about that. But from there, we continued through rigorous coursework that kept us busy but taught us so much of the basic science that was the backbone to what we would do and learn as physicians. Sometimes the pathways and the processes that we had to memorize seemed endless, but we always made it through. And on top of the learning in the classroom, we were also tasked with mastering the clinical skills that would be required of medical students and future physicians. And that was no easy task. I'm sure many of my classmates can remember some of their first patient encounters. One particular one that stands out to me was with a standardized patient, a chance to kind of practice before we're thrown into a real patient room. This particular task that we were assigned to do was to use an ophthalmoscope to observe the eye. There was a small group of me and my classmates went into a room with a standardized patient. My goal, however, I found was a little more rudimentary, as I found that as a left eye dominant individual, I had a really hard time closing my left eye while maintaining my right eye open to maintain enough clarity to perform the task. So sure enough, I thought I was smart and I could outbeat the system, and so I decided to just leave both eyes open. No one would ever know, get through the task, move on, and avoid any problems or embarrassment. Well, I was wrong. Sure enough, as I lean in closer and closer for the exam, with my left eye and right eye both open, I make an awkward eye contact with the students that are standing behind the patient, and they realize, isn't that eye supposed to be closed? Anyways, we make eye contact, we all start laughing, and the standardized patient, however, didn't find it quite as amusing, and I just left that day grateful that it was a practice session. And that day, the only good thing I remember about that day was my ability to rule out ophthalmology as a career choice. However, going home that day, I certainly felt inadequate and not so confident in my abilities. The task at hand that we were given to master the vast amount of knowledge as well as the clinical skills necessary to be a doctor and a student was very overwhelming. I'm sure most of my classmates can attest to the fact that humbling experiences came often over the last 4 years for each of us. But like I mentioned before, the encouragement from faculty, from friends, from family, loved ones, peers, is what kept us going and forging ahead. My sweet and patient wife, Stephanie, certainly deserves a shout out. She not only supported me, but also, while supporting me, took on so many of the household responsibilities and so many of her own life's challenges during the last 4 years, and I certainly love and appreciate her for that. And just like for me, so many of these other graduates, this road that we traveled would have certainly become impassable had it not been for so many of you out there. So as a class, we recognize and thank each of you. Recently, I was talking with a lifelong friend, someone I admire, and he asked me as I was nearing the end of medical school, knowing what you know now and having a little more experience, would you still go to medical school and pursue this path to becoming a physician again? With no hesitation, I said yes, but found it difficult to quickly explain in a few sentences the full reason why. Now that I have a little more time and hopefully a captive audience, I wanted to take a minute to explain why I feel that as a graduating class of doctors, we can and should look forward to the future with excitement because, like was mentioned earlier, our future truly is bright. My resounding yes to my friend's question stems from what I've learned over the last few years about the honor and privilege it is to be called someone's physician. It's something that I learned from not only medical school, but from some personal experiences, so I ask you to bear with me while I share a personal story that changed my outlook on life and my role as a physician and has continued to enrich my understanding of what it is that we're seeking to accomplish. It's something that I found wasn't routinely found in textbooks and lecture halls, but something that is crucial as we move forward. Nearing the end of our first year of medical school, like many of you, I was anxiously awaiting summer break and the fun electives and vacations that we had planned. We all knew it was our last real summer break, and we all wanted to make the most out of it. To add to the excitement of this time, my wife and I found out that we were expecting our second child, and we were really hoping that it was a boy. Our daughter, who was quickly growing up, needed a friend and a partner in crime, and everything seemed like it was going perfectly. As my wife entered her second trimester of her pregnancy, we went in for a routine ultrasound screening, and there we learned that the baby was most likely a boy. They said and warned us, it's too early to be sure, but you can believe that I was ecstatic. With this exciting news, however, the information to follow was certainly much harder to bear. The technician that was performing the ultrasound grew quiet as she meticulously scrolled back and forth with that ultrasound probe. And like any good first-year medical student, I was glued on the screen trying to follow this snowstorm of picture, trying to figure out what anatomical structures were flashing up on the screen. But without much guidance, it really proved impossible to see much of anything by way of an abnormality. The technician, after growing a little quiet, left the room and said she was going to go get the doctor. So my wife and I found ourselves sitting anxiously on that hospital bed, awaiting the expert physician to come in and tell us what all these ultrasound findings really meant for our baby boy. Those minutes certainly felt like an eternity as my wife and I prayed that our fears might possibly be averted. But with each passing minute, our excitement turned to uneasiness, but we were hopeful, still holding on to that hope that the doctor would come in and assure us that everything was just fine. Upon entering the room, however, the doctor introduced herself and proceeded. "We need to talk about a problem with your baby," she said. Problem with our baby, I thought. No way, not us. Life seemed too perfect. It certainly must have been a mix-up of some sort. However, following more blood tests in ensuing weeks, imaging studies, and various counselings with different physicians, we found and learned that our child, our son, wouldn't be dealt the easiest lot in life. The son that I was so excited to raise wouldn't be able to probably most likely even see his first birthday. This news that we received thrust us, my little family, onto a journey that was filled with ups and downs, filled with joy and sorrow, but all in all, really filled with incredible growth and understanding. While it was extremely difficult to endure, the beauty of this experience began to unfold as we were introduced to doctors and physicians along the route here at UTMB, who helped us discover that though science can fail and disease certainly may prevail, healing can and must happen for every single patient, every time, regardless of their background story, regardless of the pathology that they're given, regardless of the prognosis they're given as well. Our hope was always, throughout the whole process, that a skilled doctor would be able to come in and heal our son miraculously from this disease that was deemed incurable. However, we slowly became aware of the fact that trisomy 18 would take claim on his little body despite any amount of love, hope, faith, prayers, and the best modern medicine that we had to throw at it. The road we traveled taught me something that isn't always embedded into the medical school curriculum, but crucial in order to become a true physician healer. The stark contrast that we began to see between the physicians who were capable of distinguishing the difference between just an interesting and exciting case for the medical team to work through and the potential life-crushing crisis that said case was for the patients that were involved made all of the difference for us as a family. These physicians that were able to do that brought us healing despite the physical outcome. More ultrasounds throughout the process confirmed that our baby was in fact a boy. We decided to name him Isaac. He continued to grow and develop despite his physical limitations, and we were excited when we reached that full-term mark, knowing that it was a big milestone for him. However, nearing his due date, my wife sensed that things just weren't quite right. We went to UTMB to assess his condition and found that he was a little bit distressed, still doing okay, but just a little distressed. We decided to let Isaac continue to grow and develop, to not rush into any emergent delivery of any sort. And the peace that we felt during this whole process, I know, was in large part due to the ability of these UTMB physicians that were able to prepare us for this process that we were involved in. Isaac, like I mentioned, was born on August 5th, 2013, and his little body ultimately succumbed to the disease. However, his life and legacy have changed my life and my understanding of what I must strive to accomplish as a physician and what I feel we all must strive to accomplish. The experience taught me the importance of maintaining the needs of our patients first. I'm sure at times it will certainly seem inconvenient, it will seem annoying to remember this charge, but I invite all of us to remember that as physicians, it's our duty and our honor. And I hope that part of Isaac's story lives on in each of you as you embark on this next stage in your journey in medical training in residency that's going to be filled with endless amounts of demands for your time and for your energy. Scattered throughout many of our medical school application essays was a variation of the phrase, "I want to help people." There is a growing fear in the medical community that the training path currently in place to prepare us to arrive at this point today and beyond is the very culprit guilty of beating the caring and compassionate nature out of each of us. I believe that UTMB has set us on a different course, and I have faith in my peers' ability to not fall prey to this trend. I have watched so many of you tirelessly give of your time and energy to better enhance the community, to better enhance the care of our patients, and I know that that will continue. And I invite each of us to make sure that we maintain this focus on selfless service, and most importantly, remember that medical competency that we will all become masters at over the years is only part of what will make us excellent physicians. This is the reason that I look forward to the future. This is the reason that I feel that our future is bright. What an honor to be entrusted to care for the sick and the afflicted and to help alleviate suffering, both the physical and the emotional kind that run rampant throughout our hospital's wards. We are a blessed group of young doctors, and I know that despite the outcome, we will remember that a task to be completed or a case to be solved is never more important than a patient to be cared for. Fellow classmates, congratulations. Thank you for allowing me to speak. It truly is an honor, and I hope that you feel that way as well. I trust that great things will come from each of you. I know that the care of our families and friends and future generations are in good hands. Good luck on all of your adventures, and I know that you will all go on and do amazing things in the world. Now, please join me in congratulating so many successes and victories, all culminating on this special day for all of these graduates seating in front of us. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Well, thank you, Mr. Walton. That was marvelous. All right, so now, class of 2016, the moment you've worked so hard for and your family has looked forward to, the awarding of the diplomas. Dr. Phillips, Linda Phillips, will read the names of the graduates. Dr. Jeffrey Rayback will assist in the presentation of diplomas. Now, in order for the names to be heard clearly, please hold your applause to the very end. We want to make sure that everyone's name is heard, and then once the degrees have been conferred and the graduates return to their seats, then we'll have a hearty round or several rounds of applause. In recognition of academic excellence, selected students have been designated for graduation with honors. The highest 15% of the graduating class is awarded 3 levels of academic honors. The top 2% are awarded summa cum laude, the next 5% magna cum laude, and the remaining 8% cum laude. The doctoral hood to be placed on the shoulders of the graduates signifies their academic achievement. Now, the class of 2016 has also selected 4 members of the faculty to help conduct the hooding ceremony. These faculty members, along with the faculty member who will deliver the physician's oath, were chosen by the graduating class in recognition of their outstanding contributions to education. These honors are the highest that the class can bestow. This year's faculty hooders are Dr. Jose Barral, associate professor, I think now, in our Department of Neuroscience and Cell Biology, and holder of the Dr. Leon Bromberg Professorship for Excellence in Teaching in memory of Truman Griggs Blocker, Jr., MD. Dr. Michael Boyers, professor in the Department of Internal Medicine, scholar in the John P. McGovern Academy of Auxiliary Medicine, and holder of the John M. and Sally B. Wallace Professorship in Internal Medicine. Dr. Richard Cockashaw, professor in our Department of Neurosciences and Cell Biology, and Dr. Barnard Carnath, professor in our Department of Internal Medicine, holder of the M. Ruth Baxter and Virgil Baxter, MD, Professorship in Medicine, which was given by Eugenia Thaughlin and scholar. He's also a scholar in the John P. McGovern Society of Auxiliary Medicine. Now, class of 2016, please stand. President Callender, as Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, I would like to present to you the candidates for the degree Doctor of Medicine who have satisfactorily completed the prescribed curriculum and who have been certified by the Faculty of Medicine for conferring of the degree Doctor of Medicine.
Thank you, Dr. Jacobs. With the authority of the state of Texas vested in the University of Texas System Board of Regents, I hereby confer upon you the degree Doctor of Medicine, with all rights, privileges, obligations, responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Graduates will have their picture taken as they receive their degree. These pictures will be given to them as a gift from the Dean of the School of Medicine. You will note that some of our graduates wear a green, white, and gold-colored cord over their robes. This designates their election to Alpha Omega Alpha, the only National Medical Honor Society. Election to AOA is limited to the top 1/6 of each graduating class. Members are selected predominantly for academic excellence as well as service and demonstrated professionalism. The Texas Alpha branch of AOA at UTMB is the oldest in Texas, founded in 1920. 8 members of the class of 2016 will receive the Doctor of Philosophy degree concurrent with the degree Doctor of Medicine today, one of whom was a participant in the UT Austin and UTMB dual degree program. Her PhD was recognized at the University of Texas in Austin. These graduates will receive a special medallion presented by the director of the MD-PhD combined program, Dr. Lawrence Sowers. Dr. Tracy Lynn Cable. Dr. Cable completed the Global Health Scholars Program, is a Gold-Headed Cane Award finalist, Clara Donovan Medical Education Scholarship, William L. Marr Award in Medicine, Student Scholar of the John P. McGovern Academy of Oslarian Medicine, and the Merck Manual Award winner. Dr. Victoria Ann Shepard, Gold-Headed Cane Award recipient, W.D. and Laura Nell Nicholson Award in Family Medicine. Dr. Jessica Lauren Tedford completed the Aerospace Medicine Scholars Program, is a Gold-Headed Cane Award finalist, winner of the John P. McGovern Practice of Medicine 4 Essay Award in Oslarian Medicine, and will be hooded by her father, Dr. Dennis Tedford. Dr. Abigail Charlotte Watts, magna cum laude, Gold-Headed Cane Award finalist, Amwa's Glasgow Rubin Achievement Citation and Merck Manual Award winner. Dr. Nicholas Ernest Wilhelm, Gold-Headed Cane Award finalist. Dr. Travis Paul Green, summa cum laude, the William N. and Ida Zen Alpha Omega Alpha Award recipient, Herman A. Barnett Memorial Award winner, and the Campbell Family Scholarship in honor of Winfield M. Jr., MD. Dr. Pablo Lorenzo Padilla, cum laude, winner of the Herman A. Barnett Memorial Award and Merck Manual Award. Dr. Scott Kenneth Walton, magna cum laude, Mavis P. Kelsey Scholar. Dr. Jessica Amanda Brax. Dr. Jordan Lee Brewer, cum laude, who will be hooded by his parents, Drs. Patricia and Raymond Brewer. Dr. Alexi Lee Bullock. Dr. Bullock completed the Global Health Scholars Program. Dr. Hilary Simone Franciscini Curry. Dr. Chelsea Elizabeth Fowong. Dr. Fowong completed the Bilingual Health Scholars Program. Dr. Forrest Foster, who will be hooded by his wife, Dr. Rachel Hartley. Dr. Eric Gonzalez. Dr. Esther Renee Robbins. Dr. Robbins completed the Global Health Scholars Program and is a member of the Gold Humanism Honor Society. Dr. Jonathan J. Shee. Dr. Derek Todd Walker. Dr. Sean David Abroy, winner of the John P. McGovern Practice of Medicine 3 Essay Award in Oslarian Medicine. Dr. Isioma Agboli. Dr. Lexi Akagbe Idogi. Dr. Muyad Fatih Amaharik, Blocker Scholar. Dr. Amaharik received the Doctor of Philosophy degree recognized at UTMB Graduate School of Medicine in connection with the MD-PhD combined degree program. Dr. Clint Kelly Anderson. Dr. Paige U. Anamadu. Hambrook McGannity Award in Obstetrics and Gynecology, Gold Humanism Honor Society. Dr. Shannon Dale Archibald, Benny O. White, MD, and Irene C. White Presidential Scholarship. Dr. John Matthew Archer. Dr. Itunu Uluwa Oluwafi Sayami Orajo, cum laude. Curtis M. Lambert Scholarship. Dr. Khalid Magdi Atiya. Dr. Moses Azubaik. Dr. Andrew Daniel Badalamenti, summa cum laude, hooded by his father, Dr. John Badalamenti. Dr. Alyssa Lane Baker. Dr. Baker will receive the Doctor of Philosophy degree from UTMB at the end of the fall term in connection with the MD-PhD combined program. Dr. Michael Issam Balat, hooded by his father, Dr. Issam Balat. Dr. Ronnie Barakat. Dr. Tyler Michael Glenn Beatty. Dr. Alfreda Flores Batts. Dr. Sean Nathaniel Bender, magna cum laude. Dr. Sonam Kanti Bhakta. Dr. Alicia Corin Bloodworth, cum laude. Dr. Julie Nicole Boysen, cum laude. Dr. Nathan Wayne Borgfeld. Dr. Elena Ann Brinley. Dr. Brinley completed both the Aerospace Medicine and Global Health Scholars programs, recipient of John D. and Marianne Stobo Award in Oslerian Medicine and TSEP Outstanding Medical Student Award. Dr. Nicole Brooks. Dr. Matthew Paul Bunker. Dr. Ralph Nicholas Burns, Hambrook McGannity Award in Obstetrics and Gynecology, Student Scholar, the John P. McGovern Academy of Oslerian Medicine. Dr. Eric Donald Carlson, Blocker Scholar, L. Clark Stout Jr. Award for Excellence in Pathology. Dr. Carlson received the Doctor of Philosophy degree recognized at UTMB in the Graduate School Commencement in the MD-PhD combined degree program, hooded by his father, Dr. Wayne Carlson. Dr. Damian Carrillo. Dr. Violeta Chiras Vasquez. Dr. Leila Marie Chubane. Dr. Alex Young-Hoon Chung. Dr. Kristen Priscilla Klein. Dr. Lauren Sophia Klein. Dr. Dalia Contreras. Dr. Contreras completed the Bilingual Health Scholars Program. Dr. Mark Dalen Kuten, Herman A. Barnett Memorial Award, hooded by his parents, Dr. Raphael Kuten and Dr. Mary Peterson. Dr. Julie Ann Amthor Crowley, magna cum laude, AMWA's Glasgow Rubin Achievement Citation, the Johanna Blummel Memorial Scholarship, Isabella H. Brackenridge Scholarship, Thomas H. Fries Memorial Award for Excellence in Dermatology, and hooded by her husband, Dr. Sawyer Crowley. Dr. Kristen Nicole Cummings. Dr. Cummings completed both the Bilingual Health and Global Health Scholars programs. Dr. Cordell Clayton Cunningham, Division of Emergency Medicine Student Award. Dr. Vanessa Ariel Danqua. Dr. Danqua completed the Geriatric Health Scholars Program. Dr. Siva Venkata Dontu. Dr. Robert Andrew Davey, cum laude, the Edward Randall Medal for Academic Excellence. Dr. Rawan Jamal Daya, hooded by his brother, Dr. Tarek Daya. Dr. Dylan Dean. Dr. Ely Pierre Dibb. Dr. Kwok Dewey Mai Din. Dr. Lyndon Brooke Dixon III, the Melvin H. Schreiber Award for Radiology Excellence. Dr. Christopher Tam Doe, hooded by his father, Dr. Tan Van Doe. Dr. Jessica Shinjana Dominic. Dr. Dominic completed the Translational Research Scholars Program. Dr. John Patrick Donahoe. Dr. Claire Frances Drom. Dr. Stephen Charles Dryden, summa cum laude, the Campbell Family Scholarship in honor of Winfield Campbell Jr., MD, Merck Manual Award, William Todd Midget Scholar, hooded by his father and brother, Drs. John S. and John R. Dryden. Dr. Marie Jose Dufitumi-Kiza. Dr. Dufitumi-Kiza completed the Global Health Scholars Program. Dr. David Lawrence Eckelbarger. Dr. Tanya George Eid. Dr. Lee Bostick Elam, magna cum laude, AMWA's Glasgow Rubin Award citation, the Isabella H. Brackenridge Scholarship, Distinguished Student Award in Pediatrics, and the Edward Randall Medal for Academic Excellence. Dr. James Harvey Elder IV. Dr. Stephen Carter Eubank, Herman A. Barnett Memorial Award. Dr. Paul Allen Fickey, Jr. Dr. Fickey completed the Global Health Scholars Program. Dr. Latham Henry Leeds Fink. Dr. Fink received the Doctor of Philosophy degree recognized at the UTMB Graduate School Commencement in connection with the MD-PhD combined program. Dr. Kelsey Ann Finke. Dr. Jeremy Fleeks. Dr. Adam Matthew Flink. Dr. Brent Jared Ford. Dr. Dina Elizabeth Ford. Dr. Maria Eugenia Franco Fuenmayor. Dr. Franco Fuenmayer completed the Bilingual Health Scholars Program and is hooded by Dr. Alberto Franco Urdaneta. Dr. Deborah Sotanier Fubara. Dr. Stephanie Claribel Fuentes Rojas. Dr. Fuentes Rojas completed the Global Health Scholars Program and the John Jack Wallace MD Prize in Cardiology. Dr. Alexis Fuller, magna cum laude, AMLAW's Glasgow Rubin Achievement Citation, the Herman A. Barnett Memorial Award, and the Isabella H. Brackenridge Scholarship. Dr. Sheldon Lawrence Gaines. Dr. Mark Christopher Garcia. Dr. Garcia completed the Bilingual Health Scholars Program. Dr. Marlene Sarai Garcia. Dr. Garcia completed the Bilingual Health Scholars Program. Dr. Carlos Alberto Garcia Hasso. Dr. Garcia Hasso completed the Bilingual Health Scholars Program, Gold Humanism Honor Society, and is hooded by his father, Dr. Carlos Garcia Cantu. Dr. Rigoberto Garza. Dr. Howard Elmo Gill IV, hooded by his father, Dr. Howard Gill III. Dr. Kevin Michael Grabsky will be hooded by his mother, Dr. Martha McCullough. Dr. Adolfo Rajeda. Dr. Rajeda completed the Bilingual Health Scholars Program. Dr. Aaron Michael Gray, Blocker Scholar. Dr. Gray received the Doctor of Philosophy degree recognized at the UTMB Graduate School Commencement in connection with the MD-PhD combined program. Dr. Emmanuel Guajardo. Dr. Guajardo completed the Global Health Scholars Program and received the John P. McGovern Academy of Oslarian Medicine Student Award. Dr. Matthew Travis Gunst. Dr. Alexander Rakesh Gupta. Dr. Gupta is hooded by his father, Dr. Rakesh Gupta. Dr. Claudia Gutara. Dr. Gutara completed the Global Health Scholars Program. Dr. William Caleb Hancock. Dr. Hancock completed the Bilingual Health Scholars Program. Dr. Kevin John Hancock. Dr. Ellen Amy Tran. I've got 6 years to fix that one. Dr. Adam Gregory Hartman, cum laude. Dr. Human Rosada Hassanpour. Dr. Bryce Thomas Hendricks, hooded by his brother, Dr. Travis Hendricks, and father, Dr. Joel Hendricks. Dr. Adam Selby Hensley. Dr. Rigoberto Hernandez. Dr. Hernandez completed the Bilingual Health Scholars Program. Dr. An Tu Nup Ho. Dr. Tiffany Hunsaker, Melvin H. Schreiber Award for Radiology Excellence. Dr. Uzoma Chiwendu Iboaki. Dr. Endi Chidix Nima Ikwago, Jr. Dr. Junaid Zishwan Islam. Dr. Neil David Jackson. Dr. Kambiz Jahanian. Dr. Lori Lynette Jansky. Dr. Hikma Jamal. Dr. Selby Bernard Johnson II. Dr. Johnson completed the Bilingual Health Scholars Program. Dr. Andrew Warren Jones. Dr. Adithya Reddy Julakantla, hooded by his sister, Dr. Neha Julakantla. Dr. Freddie Donald Joseph III. Dr. Joseph completed the Public Health Scholars Program and received the John P. McGovern Practice of Medicine Essay 3 Award in Oslarian Medicine. Dr. Adam Kanafani. Dr. Petra Ann Kelsey, student scholar, the John P. McGovern Academy of Oslarian Medicine. Dr. Kenneth Obiefuna Kenneth Nwosa Jr. Dr. Tanvir Mahmud Khan. Dr. Monica Kodakandla. Dr. Zakari Quota. Dr. Gary Anthony LaCroix. Dr. LaCroix completed the Global Health Scholars Program and is hooded by his wife, Dr. Priscilla LaCroix. Dr. Lauren Alana Langshan. Dr. Langshan will be hooded by her father, Dr. Peter Langshan, and brother, Dr. Jens Langshan, recipient of the Donald Duncan Memorial Scholarship in Anatomy. Dr. Marissa Brooke Lawson, magna cum laude, AMWA's Glasgow Rubin Achievement Citation, the John P. McGovern Academy of Oslarian Medicine Award for Excellence in Basic Sciences or Humanities Selective Essay, the Edward Randall Medal for Academic Excellence. Dr. David Christopher Lee, magna cum laude, the Edward Randall Medal for Academic Excellence. Dr. Rachel Esther Lewis. Dr. Lewis participated in the Honors Research Program and graduated magna cum laude, hooded by Dr. Victor Lavis. Dr. Austin Yenan Lin, hooded by her mother, Dr. Chieko Oi. Dr. Olalade Shukura Long. Dr. Diane In-Hai Lowe. Dr. Lowe received the Doctor of Philosophy degree from the University of Texas at Austin, December 20th, 14, in connection with the UT Austin UTMB MD PhD combined program. Dr. Kurt Julius Lucas. Dr. Ruben Anthony Macias, cum laude. Dr. Macias completed the Bilingual Health Scholars Program. Dr. John Daniel Malone, hooded by his wife, Dr. Helen Malone. Dr. Ashish Mamachen, magna cum laude. Dr. Cameron Lee Manchester. Dr. Anyaran Mandel, Hamilton Ford Award for Psychiatry in Medicine. Dr. Olga Lilia Martinez. Dr. Mark Elliott McCabe, magna cum laude, Best Original Essay for Skin Diseases Depicted in Cinema. Dr. Nadia Noor Megahead. Dr. Megahead completed the Global Health Scholars Program. William H. Nash, MD, Endowed Award in Obstetrics and Gynecology, hooded by her parents, Dr. Seema Shah and Dr. Hatem Megahead. Dr. Kyle Edward Meinhardt. You better do the same for you. Dr. Summer Sanford Meinhardt. Hambrook McGannity Award in Obstetrics and Gynecology. Dr. Ashley Lane Michael. Dr. Joshua Saul Mintz, hooded by his father, Dr. Michael Mintz. Dr. Axel Gerardo Moreira. Dr. Moreira completed the Global Health Scholars Program, is hooded by his father, Dr. Gerardo Moreira, and Dr. Alvaro Moreira, his brother. Dr. Win Nak Mui. Dr. Mui participated in the Honors Research Program, graduating magna cum laude, Edgar B. Smith Endowed Scholarship in Dermatology. Dr. Rina M. Musa, hooded by her husband, Dr. Ahmad Curry. Dr. Ritu Kumbla Nayak. Dr. Seth Cordell Nelson. Dr. Anthony Chung Ming Ing. Dr. Jonathan Quan Bach Win. Dr. Stephanie Renee Wynn, magna cum laude, Amwes Glasgow Rubin Achievement Citation. Dr. Nathaniel Wayne Nickel. Dr. Samin Norudin. Dr. Chizaram Angela Wogugu. Dr. Wogugu completed the Global Health Scholarship Program. Dr. Alexander Michael Ochoa, hooded by his father, Dr. David Ochoa. Dr. Oyentanye Laura Odogu. Dr. Oluwatobiluwa Tejumade Adunse. I'll wait until they can hear me. Dr. Roslyn Efia Oduro. Dr. Oduro completed the Global Health Scholars Program. Dr. Chinunso Oboma. Dr. Oboma completed the Global Health Scholars Program. Dr. Neka Stephanie Okeka. Dr. Okeka completed the Global Health Scholars Program. Dr. Ford Nanyelum Benokoli. Dr. Stephanie Chizoba Opusunju. Dr. Opusunju completed the Public Health Scholars Program. Dr. Marianne Osakomen Osayonde, magna cum laude. Amwa's Glasgow Rubin Achievement Citation. Dr. Rima Osipov, cum laude, Blocker Scholar, Student Scholar, John P. McGovern Academy of Oslarian Medicine. Her Doctor of Philosophy degree was recognized at the UTMB Graduate School Commencement in connection with the MD-PhD combined program, hooded by her mother, Dr. Reza Osipov. Dr. Susan Elizabeth Owens, magna cum laude. Dr. Owens completed the Global Health Scholars Program and Amwa's Glasgow Rubin Achievement Citation recipient. Dr. Vincent Hallam Thomas Euler. Dr. Creed Lake Paris, magna cum laude. Dr. Chase Austin Patterson. Dr. Rachel May Pearson, Student Scholar, John P. McGovern Academy of Oslarian Medicine. Dr. Pearson received the Doctor of Philosophy degree with UTMB Graduate School of Medicine Commencement in the MD-PhD combined program. Dr. Sultana Keshwani Pefley. Dr. Pefley completed the Aerospace Medicine Scholars Program. Dr. Stacia Stanley Post. Dr. Sydney Wynn Pham. Dr. Grant Sherrod Pierre. Dr. Heather Nicole Polk. Dr. Samuel Terrence Polis. Dr. Dylon George Pratt. Dr. Pratt completed the Bilingual Health Scholars Program. Dr. Fahim Firizoli Pieroli. Dr. Pierelli completed the Global Health Scholars Program. Dr. Alexandra Rebecca Rapp, magna cum laude, recipient of Amwa's Glasgow Rubin Achievement Citation, the John R. Calverley Award for Excellence in Neurology, and the John McGovern Practice of Medicine 4 Essay Award in Oslarian Medicine. Dr. Juan Carlos Rosso. Dr. Patrick Todd Reeves. Dr. Wesley Aaron Roberts. Dr. Sonia Marie Sines. Dr. Mohammed Tawfiq Shabana, American Academy of Neurology Medical Student Prize for Excellence in Neurology. Dr. Yevgeny Shevchenko. Dr. Robert Edward Smith, cum laude. Dr. Smith completed the Translational Research Scholars Program and received the John P. McGovern Practice of Medicine 1 Essay Award in Oslarian Medicine. Dr. Philip Donald Sneed, John P. McGovern Practice of Medicine 4 Essay Award in Oslarian Medicine. Dr. Rafi Kamer Soleja, cum laude, hooded by his mother, Dr. Nusrat Soleja, and brother, Dr. Mohsen Soleja. Dr. Claire Rosalie Sorensen, the L. Clark Stout Jr. Award for Excellence in Pathology. Dr. Christopher William Spruill. Dr. Jasmine Celeste Stevens. Dr. Hui Jian Sun. Dr. Jamal Jose Taha. Dr. Sarah Catherine Taunton, hooded by her uncle, Dr. Russell Snyder. Dr. Chelsea Ann Therian, cum laude. Dr. Therian completed the Geriatric Health Scholars Program. Dr. Catherine Taylor Tinky. Dr. Scott Jeffrey Talonda. Dr. Talonda completed the Global Health Scholars Program. Dr. Janvi Todi. Dr. Tan Tui T. Trong. Dr. Bradley Thomas Unruh, cum laude, the Edward Randall Medal for Academic Excellence, hooded by his father, Dr. Terry Unruh. Dr. Agnes Unatia Yosoru, cum laude. Dr. Yusoro completed the Global Health Scholars Program, AMWA's Glasgow Rubin Achievement Citation, Student Scholar, the John P. McGovern Academy of Oslarian Medicine, Merck Manual Award, and the Society for Academic Emergency Medicine Excellence in Emergency Medicine Award. Dr. Librado Thomas Valadez, cum laude. Dr. Julian Velas, hooded by his father, Dr. Julian A. Velas. Dr. Gina Marie Ventel. Dr. Abdul Samad Vora. Dr. Lauren Charlene Walden. Dr. Brittany Jo Warren. Dr. Benjamin Joseph Robert Warshawski. Dr. J. Alexander Weston, summa cum laude, Herman A. Barnett Memorial Award, Campbell Family Scholarship in honor of Winfield M. Campbell, Jr., MD. Dr. Skylar Michelle White. Dr. Dejanita Lachey Williams. Dr. Maha Faisal Yusuf, hooded by her mother, Dr. Azza Badr, and her brother, Dr. Ali Yusuf. Congratulations, graduates and families.
Yeah, now you can cheer. Okay, thank you very much. Now Dr. Russell Snyder, professor and vice chair in our Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, who holds the faculty chair in obstetrics and gynecology, honoring Alvin LeBlanc and Harry Little, as well as Charles Powell. He's also the faculty sponsor for the Military Medical Student Association, and he'll lead this year's military commissioning ceremony. Dr. Snyder?
Thank you, Dr. Jacobs. This is actually our 16th year to do military commissioning at the same time as graduation. I'm also Colonel Snyder, United States Air Force Medical Corps retired. This commissioning ceremony is a time-honored tradition. It signifies a new officer joining the profession of arms. It's also the visible transformation of student to officer, just as commencement ceremony is a recognition of transformation from student to physician. So this is a double big day for these individuals. The oath of office is administered to every new officer as they swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And as such, each newly commissioned officer becomes an agent of the executive branch of the government appointed by the President. The pinning of the rank is a visible sign of this appointment and of the commitment made by these officers. These physicians will be entering the proud service of their country as a military medical officer, taking care of all of our active duty members and all of their families back home. And some of these individuals, no doubt, will likely be deployed in support of combat missions in the upcoming future. So at this point in time, I'd like to start with the Air Force commissioning, and I'd like to invite Drs. Davey, Gill, Nickel, Roberts, Sanford, Meinhardt, and Walker to come on up to the stage. I asked them to switch this direction because they are now facing the American flag. So we're going to go ahead and raise your right hand. I, and state your name. Having been appointed an officer in the United States Air Force, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations. And now, if you would go ahead and space out, and then I'd like to invite the family forward. And we have family members that are actually pinning on the rank. Today, for Captain Davey, his wife Bree Davey will pin on the rank. For Captain Howard Gill, his father, Lieutenant Colonel Howard Gill III, will pin on his rank. For Captain Nickel, his wife Shannon Nickel and mother, Lori Wissinger, will pin on their rank. And for Captain Wesley Roberts, Father Terry Roberts, for Captain Summer Sanford Meinhardt, her husband Kyle Meinhardt, and her father Raleigh Hunter Sanford, and for Captain Derek Walker, his grandparents Glenda Goodwin and Russell Goodwin, Sergeant, U.S. Army, will also pin on their rank. if I could have a round of applause for these new captains. And now I'd like to invite up our Army contingent, and that's soon to be Captains Macias, Reeves, and Walton. Gentlemen, if you would raise your right hand. I state your name, having been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations. And now if I could ask their family to come forward. These new captains are going to be pinned on by their family. Captain Macias has his wife, Christine, and his son, Ryder, and his parents, Ramon Macias and Olga Macias, pinning on his ranks. Captain Reeves will have his wife, Nancy Kreitz, to do his rank, and Captain Walton is joined by Stephanie Walton to pin on his rank. And again, a round of applause for these new captains and doctors. And next, we're going to do Navy commissioning, and I will invite soon-to-be Lieutenants Boysen and Tedford. I like to always comment that the Navy does things differently. Lieutenant is the equivalent rank of captain in the other branches. So if you would raise your right hand. I state your name. Having been appointed an officer in the United States Navy, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations. Great. And also their families will be coming up. Lieutenant Boysen is being pinned on by Taylor Boysen, her mother, Joanna Taylor, and her father, Lane Taylor. And Lieutenant Tedford by her sister, Kathleen Tedford Day, and her brother-in-law, Philip Day. And congratulations to these new Navy lieutenants. And now, if the brass band would play for us the military medley.
Okay, will the doctors please rise? Dr. Barral, professor in our Department of Neuroscience and Cell Biology and holder of the Leon Bromberg Professorship for Excellence in Teaching in memory of Truman Graves Blocker, Jr., will administer the physician's oath to the graduating class. The gavel being used is made from wood of the oriental plane tree under which Hippocrates is said to have taught on the island of Kos. It's a gift from the late Dr. Robert Cherry, class of 1926. Dr. Barral?
Will you please raise your right hand? And please repeat after me. I do solemnly swear by whatever I hold most sacred. That I will be loyal to the profession of medicine and just and generous to its members. That I will lead my life and practice my profession in uprightness and honor. That into whatsoever house I shall enter, it shall be for the good of the sick to the utmost of my power, holding myself far aloof from wrong, from corruption, from the tempting of others to vice. That I will exercise my profession solely for the cure of my patients, and will give no drug, perform no operation for a criminal purpose, even if solicited, far less suggested. That I will deal truthfully with my patients, respecting their autonomy. That whatsoever I shall see or hear of the lives of men, which is not fitting to be spoken, I will keep inviolably secret. These things do I swear. And now, should I be true to this, my oath, may prosperity and good repute be ever mine. The opposite, should I prove myself forsworn. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Now, will the audience please stand and join Syncope in singing The Eyes of Texas? There we go, take the flag that way. Rabbi Kessler?
Supreme Architect of the universe, as we part from this grand celebration, may it be with your choicest blessing. Grant that the efforts which brought all of us to this day may be only the beginnings of outstanding future endeavors. Bless these new physicians, that they may come to grow and serve in their life-saving callings. And as you have permitted us to gather in peace and harmony, so may we return to our homes equally blessed. And in the traditional words of Scripture, may this blessing continue. Yivarechacha Adonai v'yishmarecha, may the Lord bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha, may the Lord cause the light of his countenance to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yosem lecha shalom, and may God's presence always be with you, granting you long life, health, happiness, and most especially peace. And let us all say, Amen.
you.